Well, hey there, thanks for joining us for an update on our winter weather event that's coming our way in just a couple of days. This is a Monday evening update here for your Wednesday winter storm, and we have issued a News 2 weather impact alert for Wednesday morning all the way through Thursday morning. Reason being, we're expecting snow across a good chunk of the area. In fact, all of us should be looking ahead towards some snowfall, possibly with a little bit of icy mix for our southern counties, but primarily this is going to be a snow event, and it's trended toward a bit of a more moderate snowfall likely rather than a heavy one. We're still fine-tuning the details, but the latest info we're getting does show that we're kind of on the edge of the totals on this one. So again, what we want you to do is to be alert, keep an eye on the forecast over the next couple of days, and you might want to avoid travel, especially by lunchtime Wednesday through afternoon, evening, and into the morning hours on Thursday as well. So let's get to it. As of right now, it's just kind of nice outside. Winter weather not here yet, but it is getting cold, and this is kind of an important part of the forecast. We're chilling things down. It had been a little on the warm side for a good chunk of the month, but as things are cooling down, we're going to be cooling the ground temperature. One of my snow rules is that you always need to have cold air in place first. We are locking that in as well, and all of that leads to us thinking that snow is likely across the area. We'll put our snow meter in that likely category right now for Wednesday into the day on Thursday. So what are we expecting? Well, right now we're just in the beginning stages of this winter weather planning stage, and winter storm watches have been issued for our Triad counties, really for most of North Carolina. You can see this is a widespread event here. Raleigh has issued winter storm warnings as well, all the way down to the Sandhills and the Cape Fear area of southeastern North Carolina, and all the way toward the coastal areas too, and parts of Virginia. Now, might be a little confusing here. Why do we not have winter storm watches for our western counties or the mountains? Well, the reason is we're expecting lower amounts over that way. This winter storm is coming at us from the west. It's not coming in from the south like many of our big ones historically end up doing. What we're seeing is this one approaching from the west. It's going to have to kind of jump the Appalachian Mountains, and a lot of times what that can do is it can wring out some of the moisture and dry a little bit of it up, making it difficult. So that's why right now the foothills are not included. Doesn't mean you won't get any snow. It just means that there might be a little bit lower totals out that way. Now, farther off into the middle of the country, boys, it's going to be a big event from Kansas to Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Winter storm warnings are posted for all of these areas. It's a wide-reaching system, but it still hasn't really formed yet. We're still waiting on it to get going. So as of Monday afternoon and evening, we're just seeing the beginning stages of the system. It's going to really wrap up and intensify once it gets to about Kansas to Missouri or so, and then kind of position itself toward a run at going toward the south. So that's how we're going to track it over the next couple of days. In the meantime, we're high and dry around here. It's not frigid, it's just on the cool side. But if you look to the north of us, notice it's in the teens up in the Great Lakes. That's part of the cold air associated with that high pressure area just to our north. And going into Tuesday, that high pressure area is going to shift a little bit and get closer to us. What you want for a winter storm is you want to have high pressure to the north to send that cold air down the coast, and it'll be doing so. Our temperatures aren't actually all that bad tomorrow in the 40s, but the air will be very, very dry, and that'll lead toward a cold night Tuesday night and a cold morning on Wednesday when all of this is set to arrive. That's the storm system I was just showing you. Notice Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri getting some really heavy stuff here. This is tomorrow evening. Look how cold it is too. Temperatures in the single digits in that part of the country as that snow is overspreading the area. Then as we go toward Wednesday morning, the system is coming our way. So we see it pushing across Kentucky and Tennessee. Low pressure down here. This is what I talked about with it jumping the mountains. How will it be able to transition and kind of re-intensify? What has to happen is that the low pressure area has to move into the Atlantic. So the moisture kind of dries up a little bit over our area, and then it re-intensifies off of the Atlantic Ocean. And that energy can kind of intensify the snowfall over Virginia and North Carolina, but more so for eastern North Carolina. So we're kind of in a gap here where the moisture might be a little bit less than areas to the west and also areas to the east. I'll step out of the way so you can see this graphic here quickly. We're looking at a model comparison. On the left, you'll see the European model that you'll hear us talk about from time to time. It presents us with a difficult forecast. It has it mostly dry in the mountains and foothills, with some snow in the Triad and much more snow for eastern North Carolina. On the right-hand side, the GFS model, which is run by your tax dollars. This is an American computer model here from the government. It has it a little bit filling in the gaps in the foothills, but the heavier stuff remains off to the east. So we're going to have to take a measured approach looking at all the info that we have here. I do think it's going to be difficult to get big amounts of snow for our area just because of the moisture question mark. As far as who gets what, over the weekend we were talking about will we or wouldn't we have ice mixing in with the snow. That looks a little bit less likely at this time. The blue color here represents mostly snowfall across our part of North Carolina. That lighter shade of pink here from Raleigh to Asheboro to Charlotte indicates that you might have some sleet mixing in with some of the snow, but primarily for our area, this will be an all snow event with only a little bit of sleet possible. Southern counties, Chatham, Randolph, Lexington, Davidson County, Montgomery County, some sleet, maybe a little bit of freezing rain mixing in is a possibility. But by and large, it's still mostly snow for us. But again, lower totals to the west and higher totals to the east. Let's talk a little bit about how much snow could be possible across the region. This is the wide view right now. Overall, I'm going to start us with a broad brush amount. It's just too uncertain right now to narrow down to an inch by inch category. So instead, I'm going to start us out with a 1 to 3 inch range across our Triad proper. This would include Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, and Burlington. Overall, 1 to 3 inches of snow is going to be possible with that system. Asheboro, Lexington, Siler City, you're included in this as well. About 1 to maybe as much as 3 inches is possible too. Farther off to the north, same idea, about 1 to 3. But notice this whitish shade I've included for the western foothills. I don't think you're going to get as much snow over here. And the reason being is what I was just mentioning with that storm system having to kind of jump and hop over the mountains. It's going to be a little drier out to the west. So it's going to be tougher for you to pick up more snow out that way. We'll keep you at a lower amount right now. Now farther off to the east, notice that dark blue shade. 3 to 6 inches is possible over there. So about double what we could get is possible to the north and to the east. Now, what I'm going to do is as we learn more information over the next day or so, the next 24 hours, we'll adjust the map. So this is just a first call. Don't think of this as a final answer. We're writing this in pencil, not pen here. We'll likely add more categories to fine-tune the details and shift them around as needed. But this is something to help you plan right now, a moderate amount of snow possible for our area. Now, freezing rain potential, I don't forecast any right now north of I-85. Instead, south of it from, let's say, Siler City to Sanford, Troy, Raleigh, over to Benson, you could get more than 1/10 of an inch of ice. That can sometimes create some issues. Asheboro, Randolph County, Davidson County, Chatham, you could maybe get a glaze, but I don't think there'll be enough to create big problems or a big ice storm down that way. That's good news. A couple days ago, I was worried about that. That doesn't seem to be as likely right now. Our computer model is pretty aggressive with the beginning of this system. So I'll let you know early Wednesday morning, we'll want to be ready because you might get caught off guard with some of this snow moving into our area. It has temperatures in the 20s with a good amount of snowfall moving in. Now, I think this is a little bit too much too quickly and that it'll likely wait until later morning, like 8 to 11 a.m. to start, but this is just the computer model's opinion. By Wednesday afternoon, we'll continue to see on-again, off-again snowfall across our area. Notice how cold the temperatures are. So as those roads are getting snow covered and slippery, the temperature is dropping. It goes all the way down to about 20 degrees overnight on Thursday. And then there could be one more burst of snow Thursday morning before it's all said and done. Thursday afternoon, the sun will come out, which should help us to melt some of it off of the roadways, but the impacts are still likely to remain for a little while. Overall, I'm estimating wintry impacts mostly from snow and slick roads and travel. Iciness, power outages, less of a concern for most of our area because we're not expecting that ice anymore. Another look at the timeline. Wednesday morning, that's when snow starts to move in. Wednesday afternoon, the snow kind of gets steadier and more widespread and more road problems are possible. And remember, this is mostly for the Triad East, a little bit less so for the Triad West. Overnight, snow will be coming to an end. Roads do remain slick though. Thursday morning, it's going to be very cold, so those slick roadways are likely to continue. And one thing I want you to consider, not only do we have some chill right now, but take a look at these low temperatures. Down to 19 Thursday morning, 15 for Friday morning. That's going to be cold enough that we go through this kind of agonizing process where you melt during the day and then you refreeze at nighttime. That's going to be difficult for a couple of days and kind of keeps those roads in trouble for a little while longer heading into the weekend. By the way, why do we have to deal with sleet and freezing rain sometimes? Well, it helps to visualize it this way. Snow happens, of course, very simply when the air is cold below 32 degrees, but it has to be freezing from the cloud all the way to the ground. Sleet happens when you get a little bit of warm air that melts those snowflakes and then they refreeze into ice drops by the time they hit the ground. Freezing rain, different story. You're melting the snowflake into a raindrop and then it freezes on the surface. That is when that happens. But thankfully for this time, it looks to be mostly snow across our area. Starting Wednesday morning, ending Wednesday night, slick roads will continue through Thursday and possibly through the end of the week into your Friday as well. You know, February, not one that we often think of when it comes to snowfall in recent years. However, it does happen. Historically, about 28% of our snowfall happens during the month of February. Hey, March can have some stuff too. 7-day forecast, we're looking ahead. It's dry for Tuesday. Wednesday, we'll see the snow starting in the morning, kind of ending by the evening time. I'd want to get where I want to be by lunchtime Wednesday, probably a little earlier. If you don't have to travel, don't do it. The roads could be a little tough out there. By the end of the week, we look ahead toward Friday. It'll be dry, we'll have sunshine, and temperatures will get a little bit warmer through the weekend. That February sun will melt a lot of the snow on the roadways and the driveways, but the shady spots, they're going to stay snow covered for quite a while.